Hey guys, I just thought I'd show you this because this is a great little quadcopter. A few times people have asked me, about a different quadcopter and what I would have if I didn't have the Hubsan. Well, when I bought my Hubsan, I bought it not as a camera drone. I just bought it as I like the look of it. I like the look of it, and when I looked at other drones, they seemed so big and so bulky, and the Hubsan was like a nice little sleek drone. And by the measurements I could see, I knew I could get it in my backpack and I could take it around and get out different places and fly. But the one that got me started was one of these Syma X5Cs. Now, this is over 18 months old now, and I've had to change the gears, these parts in here, and I've had to change the motors, of course, but everything else is original. Now this body is all a bit bashed up, and it's had holes put in it, so I could put a little antenna out of here. It's had the camera first mounted in the bottom part facing down a bit, but then I preferred it to be facing directly forwards, and it was easier for me to mount it on the top. I've actually got a new body coming, so I'm going to be able to put this in the new body because I'm really happy with this, and I'll tell you why I'm really happy with it. Because even though this is as it was now, normally when you've got these, the battery that comes with it is a 500 milliamp. Hello, crazy cat. The battery that comes with it is a 500 milliamp. This is a 700 milliamp battery, or 750. It's written underneath this because this has been repurposed now. Really, yeah, 700 milliamp, and it's been repurposed. Hello, buddy. And flying this, you get around about sort of 7 minutes. Seven minutes. Now, I wouldn't fly with all the extra bits on because, to be honest with you, it weighs it down too much. And if you use the camera that comes with it, the camera weighs just over 8 grams. But the camera that I've put in here, the transmitter, the LC filter, the inductor and capacitor filter, and the 5-volt boosting circuit weighs round about that same amount as what it would if you had the camera on the bottom. But the difference being is, instead of just recording it with an SD card, TF card, whatever, you've got an FPV system, because this is transmitting the video out. And this works really well. Now, without this kit in here, using one of these batteries, you get around about 7, maybe 8 minutes, if you're doing well. But I can get the same amount of time with all this kit in here, because I use a different battery. I use different batteries on this. I use these Nanotechs. These are 750 milliamps, between 35 and 70 discharge, 35 and 70 C. And these work really well. Now, I've not tried to test this. I've not tried to run this without this kit in, just to see what this battery's like. But I tell you for now that you can whiz this around outside. It's a little bit extra. This in total, with the whole lot and the battery in it, weighs less than 100 grams. I think it comes in at like 97.6 grams or 98.1. I can't remember which one out of those two it is, but it's one of those, but it's less than 100 grams. And this thing will whiz around for 8, a little bit more minutes, flips and all sorts, streaming FPV. And it's a great little bit of kit. I'm going to take it apart now. I'm going to show you what's inside. Now, the reason why I'm making this video now is because Banggood, I've been having a bit of a sale on, or I mean, they do this all the time anyway. it's good sometimes to keep an eye on bits and pieces there. But you can get the transmitter that I've got in here. It's the VTX03. Oh, you can get these transmitters for, I think it's around about like £12 at the moment. I know that might seem a little bit expensive, but they do go down cheaper. I bought it. I bought this one. I'll show you. I think it was like £6.99. The camera, I think it's about £4 at the minute. I think I paid about £5 or £6 for the camera. And one of the most expensive things, because you know you think the VTX does quite an important job, quite a big job really, transmitting the signal. And the camera, of course, it's a 600 TVL. Now it's not that great in darkness. I've actually got one coming. It costs £7 for it. I think it's 800 TVL or 700 TVL, and it's 0.0008 lumens. So that's pretty good. That is pretty good. Now I only put 2 screws in here. Now, and the reason why I do that is because I can't find the other ones. Okay, if I found the other ones, I'll put the other screws in, because they still come in at a lighter weight than putting 4 zip ties, cable ties around here. And honestly, for the amount of difference that it makes, it's around about 3 grams in total for the 4 cable ties cut off, you know, around these. And 3 grams makes a difference on a little craft like this. It makes quite a big difference. Now, what you're not going to see inside is a professionally fitted out job. But it's going to be safe. It's not going to cause any issues, and it works. And the nice thing about this is it doesn't just work on the bench with no props on, and the video works, transmits. I mean, it works. You can fly it around, you can do flips and everything, and the video it's not interfered with. It's a nice clean signal. So I'm just going to show you the parts that I've got, and I'll put links in the description and just give you a quick run through. So here is the connections for the battery, where the battery comes in, positive and negative, and they come into this LC filter. So that's for the input of the LC filter. Here's the output. Now the output goes onto the input of this 5-volt boosting circuit. So it will take between, I mean, the VTX camera needs 5 volt to work, and I'm running my batteries down to 3.3 volts. Okay, so this does work. It says from 3.7, but it does work at 3.3 volts and give a 5 volt out still. So it goes into the boosting circuit, out the boosting circuit, into the transmitter, and then from the output of the transmitter we got our little feed. It's 80 milliamps I think for the camera. I've not got the audio connected up, I've just got the visual. I'm not really bothered about listening to the propellers going around. And there it is, and this is the VTX03. I think that's what it's called. I'll put a link in the description anyway. Now on my one, what there would be an LCD screen, but not LCD, LED segment display, but mine's broken off. And I've got this set at 25 milliwatts. If I put it at 50 milliwatts, 200 milliwatts, you know, I'm going to get a lot less time, of course, on my video. But at the minute I've got mine set at 25 milliwatts, and I can fly around the inside of my little place here, in and out the other rooms. And I still, you know, I can do that from sitting in the corner in this room and have a signal all the time. So that's it, that's all there is. And do you know what I like about these little setups? Is you can put this in something else if you want to. You know, you can take this out and you can put this in something else. This little setup together is tried and tested, and it works well. And like I say, it all comes off the one battery. You can get these. You can buy these off from Hobby King, £2.49 or £2.47. So that's pretty cheap. I mean, I know that you know, for It's £10, isn't it? And you can get one of those chargers and 4 of the other batteries I've shown you, and 4 of these with the little charging thing. But these just sag so much, so you'll only be able to run this from, like, let's say you know, ideally it goes to 4.2 volts, but it doesn't really. It goes to like 4.116, say 4.145, in that sort of area. But when it gets around to about 3.9 to 4 volts, it's sagging so much that you lose the video, and that's no good at all. These don't sag. These have got such low internal resistance that they don't sag. They work so well that they don't sag, so you don't get that video dropout. And you can be flying this to, when you know you've got to bring it in is when you lose the video, because then it's really down. It's like 3.5 volts, something like that, and by the time you get it back into it, you know, you're on your 3.3, and really you want to get this straight back to storage voltage as quick as you can. Give it a few minutes if you like, as soon as you've got it out of the craft, just to settle down a bit, and then get it uncharged, get it to storage voltage. And I'm finding that these are working really well. I've been using these now for a few weeks, and I'm really impressed with it. This is, you know, partially the reason why I'm making these videos, because I just want to let you know that these little batteries in these, with this little setup, is absolutely brilliant. It's winter time now in the UK, or well, it's autumn, it's coming into winter time, so not so much outdoor flying, but to keep your hand in and to tweak up your responsiveness without, you know, buying a whole nother kit. I suppose it's down to if you've got one of these. If you haven't got one of these, there are other things out there you can buy. I found equivalents to this little setup, sort of £70, £80. But this in total, £29 for the craft. And then around about another, including a receiver that you could plug into your phone, another £30 for the whole lot, including this. I'm using, at the minute, I'll tell you what I'm using. I'm using the receiver that came in this monitor, that came with the other transmitter, especially for these, but I found it to be too heavy. It weighed in at 21 grams. This thing. This is just the insides. This is the insides of this. You know, you must recognise one of these little camera systems that would fit underneath here. But it weighed in at like 21 grams, just over 21 grams, and it's just too heavy. It is too heavy for any sort of sporty flying. Don't get me wrong, it will hover, it will fly around gently, but you're not going to be able to, you're not going to be as nimble with it as what you might like to be, or I definitely was not as nimble with this as what I wanted to be. So I needed to get it light, and this is what I found to be light. I'm using one of these. This battery weighs 1 gram more than this battery. This is 17.1 grams and this is 18 grams. For what it does, for the difference in batteries, is massive. You know, okay, you can get 3 of these batteries for the price of one of these batteries, or at least 2.5 of these batteries for the price of one of these batteries. But this is going to give you a much better performance. Like I say, if I took all this out and just ran this battery with this, I got no idea what the flight time is going to be. Probably maybe 11 minutes. But I don't really want 11 minutes of just flying around. I want the FPV. You know, I want to be able to be in FPV all the time. And I found these are absolutely brilliant. So there we go. Just a little short video. I know this looks a bit mucky at the minute, and don't worry about these electronics here. This pushes down into this bit here, so this isn't going to touch anything. And the side, as you can see, look where that's been soldered. That's all hot glued, so it's insulated anyway. So nothing's going to touch anything or do anything. This is in a this is all in a heat shrink, clear heat shrink. So that's insulated. And that's tucked nicely out of the way up there. That's quite tough for me to actually. Oh, I'll show you. that's tucked up there out of the way, and that's quite difficult for me to even move, and I have to prise it out, so I had to take it out a couple of times, prise it out with a very gently with a screwdriver and a pair of long nose pliers, get this glue off, because I waited till the glue gun was really hot before I put it on. So it works really well. Yeah, so if you have got a little Syma X5C and you want to turn it into a quick FPV system that works really well, and you want to fit it back together the right way around, I would certainly suggest and say to you, go along with these parts. These parts certainly do work, and they work well. I've been having a lot of fun with this. I've got my other one built as well, and I'll be doing a couple of videos over that over the next few days, a week, to show you the first flight of that. I've actually done a video outside already of the first flight, the first hover of my homemade one, my DIY build one. And I got a new body, like I say, I've got a new body for this coming, so I'm going to be able to, now I know exactly where I like the camera, I'll be able to make sure that I just make the hole on the new body specifically just for this. But I've got another camera coming, because this isn't so great in the dark, but I've got another one, like I say, it's a 0.008 lux, 0.00008. It's very low light. It's not perfect in you know, complete darkness, but it's very low light, which is going to make flying this around even a little bit more fun, just for at night time. So there we go, the little Syma X5C, the little FPV upgrade that you can do.